everybody. I just wanted to take time out to we want to talk about the things that's going on out there in the world right now, all of the different things that's going on with the protests. I have my baby girl Simone. She what are you, Simone? Niece, aunt, slash, we
Yeah.
do all of that. Daughter, all of
All
that.
names, all things.
All things, all things. So the reason why I wanted to speak to her because she's actually been out there protesting. So with that, we can get some perspective of what's really going on out there and what do we need to do as a people to stop some of the foolishness that's going on
Yeah,
because I feel like the message is not being heard at
yeah.
all. Okay, so Simone, I just want you to tell people a little bit about yourself and then we're gonna shoot right on in it.
I'm Simone. I am a singer-songwriter from New York, other artists, as well
Uh-huh.
as studios for about 2 years now. I just started releasing my own music last year, and most recently just released a project 2 months ago that's out now.
Which I saw the album cover. People would think probably that you just did that, but they please note that that was already in the works and
Yeah,
it's already been out for over
yeah,
a month. So
yeah, yeah.
go follow her, go check it out. Okay, so normally I don't speak about anything regarding protests or unjust because I always say that all lives matter. However, all lives do matter, but at this present day we're talking about Black Lives Matter, and that is at the forefront right now.
Yeah.
So I wrote down a lot of questions I wanted to ask you because you have been out there doing the protest.
Yeah.
So what's your take on protesting?
I think that protesting is a beautiful thing. I think when people need to be heard, I'm all for going out in the streets and making yourself heard. From what I've seen personally and what I've seen through video, it's a lot of peaceful community, very united groups. I was personally led in a protest a couple towns down by an 8-year-old black boy on the megaphone. No justice, no peace. Like he
Oh,
was
that's
leading
awesome.
the whole thing. It was very beautiful. I've seen people line the streets waiting for us to come down, cheering us on. I've seen cars honking. I'm here for the message being heard, and if that's through protesting, then that's through protesting.
Okay, and are you going into the city or where are you? You're in Long
So
Island or
right now I'm on Long Island, and the three protests that I have been to have been on Long Island. There's one on Juneteenth that is going to be a really big one, the 19th, going from Central Park to City Hall in the city. So that will be my first protest in the city, amongst what I was soon to be a little bit more of a spectacle than what it has been here. So.
I'm pretty sure. So has everything been cool there or has it been some turmoil?
Yeah, it's been so the first day of protesting in the town was last Monday. And on that first protest, we just went down into our village. So I live in a suburb, so there's an area where it's just a little bit more condensed, more like a city life. So everybody walked through there, and there was actually a company that saw us, like a store on the street that saw us, started taking videos, calling us animals, saying they're going to throw watermelons at us, just very much belligerent towards everyone in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
And they posted it on Facebook Live. And the next day, their business was covered with watermelons, out of business. The whole town was not having it. That was the first
Mm-hmm.
protest that I went to. And
Mm-hmm.
then the third one, the one that I said was led by that young boy, there we walked down to the second precinct on that protest. And when we got there, there was a lineup of police officers there already in their gear. And we did the 8 minutes of silence for George Floyd. And in that 8 minutes, things kind of got a little rowdy. People wanted to say what they wanted to say, and I guess I don't know what you call someone who kind of like leads the police force in that area, but
Mm-hmm.
whomever was speaking for the general men and women that were there, he was saying we don't want to pick sides, we want to keep this peaceful. kind of didn't sit too well with people that were there. And, you know, I think the passion of it does overtake people sometimes when you're staring at the police and they're ready to go, you know, so that kind of, and it's kind of like instigating or inciting incidences. Luckily, we marched back and we were fine. So for the most part, the police have been with us. They've been leading the protests, making sure the streets are safe, that we're going down. So I have nothing really bad to say about their presence personally that I've seen here. I can't speak for
I mean,
other
because at
areas.
the same time, they have a job that they have to do.
Yeah,
And believe it or not, you know, some people will disagree with me. Their main thing is to make sure people are safe, you know.
yeah,
Um, the sad thing is a couple rotten apples, you know, people are blaming the whole police force.
yeah.
I don't think that's fair, but I also am happy that
Mm,
people are now starting to stand up because this stuff has been going on for a long time. It's just people are tired now. And what I do like to see about everything is so many people are coming together. Like it's not just the black race, it's everybody coming
right.
together. But that being said, if you look at a lot of these videos that's out there, you see other races putting, knocking down stuff, putting Black Lives Matter. Like, I don't think it's wise to deface a property.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, I'm sorry, people work hard to,
yeah,
and I'm talking about small businesses. I'm not talking about stores like Target, which you shouldn't be doing that either. But I'm just
yeah,
saying, these real small businesses, and I'm talking about small, like maybe you have 20 or 30 employees, or maybe it's just you
yeah.
and another employee. About that, my phone is ringing.
Oh, no problem.
My take on that is, you know, you're the whole purpose of this protest, the whole purpose of this march is because we want to bring attention to Black people are not being treated fairly.
Yeah,
So now you're out here and you're doing all of this foolishness.
yeah,
I mean, at what point, what message are you sending when you're doing that?
yeah.
So that's what I had a real problem with. But I want
Mm.
to ask you, okay, so you said you have been a part of protests, but have you been a part of protests that end up turning violent?
No, I have personally not seen anything turn violent whatsoever.
That's good.
The only violence I've seen are people not involved in the protest that want to spit and spatter things on the sidelines with their Trump flags and mocking the police officer and George Floyd. I've seen ridiculous things. Somebody got beat up the other day by Trump supporters that like lured them in to have a constructive conversation, and as soon as he ran up to the group, they started wailing on him and his girlfriend. So the only violence I've seen is from people with a different perspective, personally.
Yeah. So it's not really the protesters; it's the onlookers. Like they're out there for a reason.
Yeah,
They're out there for a reason. For so what I can say far as for Lauderdale, the protest has started off very, very well, very well mannered, very professional. But for some reason, at the end of these protests, you have these people to come out. I mean, like who kicks it? They've been kicking firecrackers at the police officers. I mean, what do you think they're going to
whoa,
do? And innocent people are getting hurt because they're doing stupid stuff like this. I
yeah,
know at the because I work for the government, so at the government center, they tried to knock out some windows. They damaged some
wow,
windows, but yeah, like it got pretty rough where they
oh,
had to shoot out the tear gas and everything. But
oh my
at
God,
some point, when do you sit back and say, you know what, this isn't right? I know it was a boutique that I was planning on visiting in Texas, and I just happened to go and look on her page, and they looted her shop. And I'm
uh,
like, it's a boutique. Like, what? What are you getting out of that? She
yeah,
worked hard, and then when you're doing small businesses, you're putting your money up front. It's no one that's funding or doing any of this stuff. So, I mean, that was my main
uh,
thing. So what do you want to see happen with this?
I think I want to just say, like, jump off from what you were saying really quickly.
Hmm.
I do acknowledge the rioting. I do acknowledge the people taking advantage of these circumstances to get things for themselves and do God knows whatever with them. But I
Hmm.
refuse to make that noise louder than like the point.
Exactly.
So I don't know why people want to destroy. Some of these businesses are black businesses too. So it's
That's
like,
and that's
what?
that's 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 a great point that you pull up. A lot of these the business that I was just telling you
Yeah,
about in Texas, that's a black owned business.
yeah,
I mean, and they when I say they're defacing stuff, I mean bars. What are you gonna do in the bar?
yeah,
I mean, the bar
yeah,
isn't even open. What are you gonna do? Go
yeah,
behind the counter and try to pour some beer? I mean, what do you get out of doing that?
yeah, yeah. And it's so unfortunate because people like that, I don't care who you are, black, white, whatever, you're not an ally with what's going on because you're exploiting what's going on for your own benefit. And I just wish that those people didn't speak for the rest of us trying to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's I spend a lot more time like trying to uh convince people like not to only pay attention to the writing because unfortunately this is the narrative that the media is also portraying more so than the peaceful things that are going on, more so than the police tear gassing their own people thing. So it's unfortunate and I don't like it. I'm not condoning violence, stealing, looting, any of that.
Mm-hmm.
I understand frustration, but there's a way to be heard, you know.
I mean, for the most part, from what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing from talking to people, the the protests are fine, but you have these incidents where, of course, it can get a little
Yeah.
crazy. But for the most part, in Chicago, I don't know if you've seen footage in Chicago.
No, I
People
haven't.
are still in wigs. Like, what are you guys doing? They're still in wigs. Like, they're breaking into wig shops. They still in wigs. I saw footage. This was from a church. A church went out to try to minister to the people who were doing the looting, and these people were out there. Foot Locker tearing up Foot Locker, tore up a jewelry store, and I'm like, what justice are you getting out
Yeah,
of stealing a pair of Nikes or whatever type of tennis shoe it is? I
yeah.
mean, you're defeating the whole purpose of this whole protest. I
Yeah,
mean,
I agree.
it's pretty sad. It really is pretty sad.
I
But I'm
agree.
glad that you're involved with it. I'm
Yeah,
glad that you're involved.
I'm definitely happy to be a part of it. It was definitely I had to convince myself, if I'm being honest, I had to convince myself to really like go out in the streets and holler these things. The first protest that I went to, I found it a little uncomfortable and a little hard to like repeat the chants and things like that because I'm like, this is absolutely ridiculous that I have to be screaming Black Lives Matter in the streets to people, taking videos or just thinking that it's like a parade or something and not really understanding maybe the message is going over their heads a little bit.
Hmm.
So it was a little bit difficult that first day. But once you start participating, once you see other people participating so relentlessly, like I can't look at the white guy next to me going crazy and I'm sitting here like I'm nervous to repeat these chants. You see that these people are with you and there's a lot of people in these protests. You got a lot of people with you. It's just like might as well stand up for it, at least in that moment. So I'm glad that I've been part of it. And also just to touch on the looting one more time, a friend of mine in Brooklyn, she is like a huge activist, even prior to everything going on right now. She
Hmm.
started a cleaning service in the streets to clean up the streets when people are looting, throwing things
Okay.
around. So her and her friends have been going and playing really good music, offering food or whatever to the homeless that they might pass, picking up garbage. So I think, a little bit more of a community sense can even come out of the destruction and the rioting of it too.
That's good. I
Yeah.
mean, if anything, positive. Like I said, the one thing I do like is that it's just not one race is coming together. Everybody is coming together. But let
Yes.
me ask you, how do you feel about other races? I mean, like I said, I'm not condoning black race, white race. I'm not condoning anyone who's defacing, but a little part of me thinks, when other races are out there writing these messages and stuff on these on the walls, mirrors, whatever they're writing them at, I feel like we're the ones that's going to get blamed for it.
Yeah. So I'm so glad that you said that. The protest that I went to where we went to the precinct and we were kind of had that moment of silence, I noticed that it was the non-black people who felt comfortable enough to say, you know, F this, F you, you pigs, da da da, getting in their faces, and then you having the black people be like, give me the
Yeah,
thing. Stop talking, because you're right, you're gonna antagonize them, and you got black people here, which are
yeah,
the prime people that they are gonna go after it. And it was
exactly.
kind of embarrassing. It's embarrassing
Yeah,
how people speak for me so aggressively that don't even have an out. Like I understand that people understand it, but don't speak for someone. Don't
mm-hmm.
speak for someone. Participate, listen, educate yourself, but God forbid this one woman in particular, she was just going really, really hard, and I had to grab the microphone from her because I was like, this could get crazy. Specifically, she was just it's just too much antagonizing the police. That's not going to help anything. These protests aren't to get the police to kneel. I know a lot of people want to be like, just kneel with us, or take a walk with us. That's not the point of this. That they're going to do, they have a job, and clearly they care more about their job than they do about
Mm-hmm.
what's going on. So I'm
I
not
mean,
here to yell at the police.
they signed up for any of these
Yeah,
things, and I mean, that's just the way it is. And we
yeah,
have officers in our family, and I
yeah,
mean, it's like I said, it's sad that a couple, rotten apples, the whole every police officer is taking a hit for
yeah,
the actions of individuals,
yeah,
but when crimes like this happen, it's not looked at as individuals, it's looked
yeah.
at as the whole entire force.
I think Black lives. Of course, there are people in general, black, white, whatever, that do commit crimes, that do bad things. You know, there's nothing to go against the job of a police officer, but whatever thought process they have clearly makes them think that all black people are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry that you guys have a couple police officers that have been killing us, and now we're going to point the finger to all of you, but that's what you did for us. And I think the bigger thing, too, even if you're not personally a bad cop, if you haven't.
You're just in the wrong. You are absolutely in the wrong if you have never spoken up and you've seen
Yeah,
these things go on.
yeah. So I think it's kind of like, yeah, and also it's you got to think it's a job versus somebody's life. You can stop being a police officer. I can't stop being black. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the trade-off is a little bit different. I saw a video today of some police officers very mad at a press conference about feeling villainized through media, and it was just I could take the exact same words as a black woman and say the exact same thing. Being vilified by media, not being allowed in the conversation until things get crazy, like
Mm-hmm.
it's honestly kind of ironic because you can very much so compare, taking one black person and making an assumption about the black community and taking one bad officer and making an assumption about the police force. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
I mean, that's the thing is, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know how this is going to end.
yeah, yeah,
I mean,
and that's the scary part.
it's scary because, like I said, the good protests, those are being downplayed by all of the looting and stuff that's going on.
Yeah,
So what's the end? What's the to me the
I'm gonna
common
sorry.
code is
I gotta grab my charger. 1 second.
okay. I just grabbed mine and and try not to move around so much.
No,
Just
my
grab.
phone's on like 2%. I gotta
Yeah,
plug
because we
this.
started. Oh my God, we started off with what our computers, and now we ended up
Yeah.
with the phones. Yeah.
All right. So I'm good now. Okay.
Oh, okay. I need to get one of those little devices.
Yeah,
That's pretty
you
cool.
should.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Let me see what else I had because I had okay, we talked about defacing the property. Um okay, so if you had to give someone advice about your opinion about is it safe enough for them to go out there and protest, and also with COVID, Are you nervous about the whole? Because you're in like hot zone. You're in
Yeah,
the hot zone.
personally been wearing a mask. My people that I go with, we make sure we have masks. Majority of people in these protests have masks. So I think, take the precaution that you need to take. But as far as just safety, even outside of COVID, I do want to generally say, um, if they want to arrest you, they'll arrest you for whatever reason. It doesn't matter. You could just be an onlooker. I've seen them arrest and shoot at homeless people who had no involvement whatsoever.
And I
Um,
was going to ask you about that too. I'm glad you brought that up.
yeah,
So you do see that.
yeah. I
Okay.
saw there was shot him in the eye with a rubber bullet. I don't know if it was on purpose or by accident, but that's someone who lives on those streets, and wasn't participating, wasn't doing anything, was in a wheelchair, if anything, actually, so not even threatening. Um, so I think there's an element, obviously, of something going wrong that is totally possible. I think you just have to ask yourself if you are okay with that. And
Mm-hmm.
I would like for people to assume that they're stronger than they think that they are,
Mm-hmm.
because you're outnumbering whatever police force is out there.
Then that's a good and a bad thing.
Yeah, yeah, it's like it's a give and take. I mean, I'm assuming like ones in the city where they're bigger or in metropolitan,
Mm-hmm.
you just have to take the right precautions. I mean, bring shoes that you can walk in, that you can run in if you need to start running. Bring milk for your eyes if they tear gas you. Bring water for yourself. Don't bring things that you don't need to bring. Don't bring things you don't want to be arrested with. You just have to be smart and do the right thing, because at the end of the day, if you do the right thing, then the only people who can point a finger is at the police, you know?
Yeah.
So don't antagonize, don't get aggressive, don't start anything, don't yell at anyone. I think those are ways that people are getting hurt, because they're getting a little too brave and maybe coming out of themselves a little too much with the authorities. But there's really no guarantee. You can go to a protest and be completely peaceful and they can find a way to do something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
unfortunately,
my thing is don't antagonize. Don't
yeah,
be in the face. Like
yeah.
when you're pushing them in a corner, what do you expect them to do? That's just like somebody pushing us in a corner. I mean, you're going to react to it. I don't care what kind of officer you are. If someone is in your face pushing you, being aggressive, you're
Yeah,
going to respond back to that.
yeah.
That
I,
just
I
goes
would say though,
with.
I don't want people to be scared. I've heard that a lot. And go with people that you trust. Make sure you have a way there and back home, and just do your best to stay safe. Do your best. But I think the fight is more important than you feeling comfortable. Like you might be scared going to a protest, but you got black people every day that are scared in general.
Mhm.
So, I'm not gonna force anyone, but
I mean, I've talked to people, and I feel like that is a concern with people. I would like to go to a protest. My problem is once I find out about the protest, it's already like 4 hours in.
yeah,
And the part that you're gonna have to try to find parking, it's just gonna be a mess. So I did see one, but it was way south in Miami, and I'm just
mm,
like,
yeah, it's out of
I'm
the
not
way.
even familiar with that area. So
Yeah. I also don't think that black people should be pressuring themselves to go to these protests. It's not, you don't have to
well,
traumatize yourself to do that. I think if you want to, and
I just want to.
yeah, you
I
want
just
to,
I just I just want to.
that's good then. If you
I think
genuinely
I
want
think
to,
it's
yeah.
I think it's something that I need to see,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
would like to be a part of, but not the foolishness.
yeah.
I'm so not
Luckily,
for all of
in
that,
my
but I
area,
would like to be a part of it.
there's been, as far as like knowing when the protests are happening, we have like a Long Island Justice for George Floyd Instagram page that posts all
Oh,
of the protests going on in any town on the entire island, what time, where to meet up. So that's
Oh,
how
that's
people are finding
good.
it out. And they do it at the beginning of the
I've
week.
been Googling and it's been giving me stuff after the fact.
Oh,
I chimed in on 99 Jams Instagram. That's how I found out about the one in Miami. But what
oh,
I'm talking about from where I live, that's a good hour,
yeah, yeah.
hour and 15 minutes away from me.
Wow.
And I'm not familiar with the area. So
Yeah,
that's
that's
another
another
thing.
thing
If I'm
too.
going to go to a protest, at least I want to know the area. If I need to get the running,
Yeah,
I can hop in my car and I know which way to go.
yeah,
So
that's true too, actually. That's very true. I didn't think about it so much as far as like knowing where you are and knowing how to get out of where you are.
mhm.
Yeah, if I don't know the area, I probably wouldn't be that comfortable either, or anybody's there antagonizing anybody.
Let
Um,
me ask you,
yeah.
when you do the march, about how many blocks is it, or you guys just freelance,
So
or you
we,
guys actually have permits to do the Okay, that's wonderful.
yeah, so
That
the
makes a big difference.
Yeah, so the two that I went to in my area specifically, like they go right past my house actually.
Hmm.
Um, that I think it's like 3 miles, that one. And
Hmm.
then the one that I went to where we walked down to the precinct, I don't know how many miles it was, but the walk was like 40 minutes either way. And then we stayed there for about an hour
Hmm.
and then walked back. So I want to say I haven't been at a protest longer than like 3 or 4 hours. I know that they can go longer, but we are walking a good amount. We are definitely walking a good distance for those couple hours.
And with those masks on, boy.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, but it's what is necessary right now.
Hmm. I'm so proud that you just stepped out there and do that. Do you have a copy of your album cover
I
that we
do. I mean, I do. Not on me, but I can send one to you for sure.
Okay, because I would like for people to see that, because it's just amazing that you did that, and then 1 month later this happened.
Yeah.
Like it's like unbelievable. People would be
Yeah,
like, "Oh, she probably did this because of this." No.
no, it
Um,
was, and that's the crazy part is that sometimes the art speaks for so long, and I did that for Black History Month just as an ode to Black History Month, and then a couple months later you see more
yeah.
things happening. I actually just
Yeah.
performed last night. Um, I'm involved in a campaign called Artists for Change. We're raising funds for donation funds. One of them is the Audre Lorde, which is an LGBTQ for people of color organization. We're doing the Bailout Project as well as the M4BL project, and one more that I can't remember. We've raised over $3,800 so far just
That's
through creatives sharing their art and encouraging people to donate.
hmm
Um, and we've done that in less than a week. So I think there's power. There are people who have money, number one, that want to donate and want to like help, that maybe won't be in the streets but will give what they can.
hmm
So I always encourage people, just do whatever you can to inform someone, because news is the way that a lot of people consume. A lot of people consume over social media, but as well as the news, and what the news is portraying isn't everything, right? So I think sharing that information, having conversations, having dialogue is nice. Last night I performed for the Artists for Change benefit concert that we had on IG Live, and performed my
hmm
song "So Scared" about the current racial climate, and
hmm
had a discussion afterwards. I think it's just great to continue talking about it and
hmm
not think that it was a week thing or a month thing. It's going to be an ongoing, long thing. Um,
hmm
but we have made so many great changes in New York alone. We've passed three different bills. One to stop hiding the misconduct of police officers. One to make it a hate crime to call, like that woman who called the black man for bird watching, make it a hate crime to call purely based on someone's race. And one other one that I can't remember. So things are being changed. Things are being changed. That's why I encourage
It's
protesting.
being done the right way.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what
being
people
done the
like.
right way.
Screaming will not. I've always said that with any situation, screaming will not solve a problem.
Yeah,
It may make you feel good for a second,
yeah,
but it does not solve the problem. If you want someone to listen to you, you have to talk.
yeah, yeah. And you have to know what you're talking about as well,
Hmm.
because,
Yeah.
not everyone in these protests can speak for everyone, It takes
Yeah.
the right person to have the dialogue, but I've so far have seen people who have been capable, and we actually in my town, we had protests every day, actually the same time every day, and they were huge every day, that the town recognized them. And I think this past Monday, the Black Lives Matter organization here in my town got to sit down with local law enforcement, local school boards, and some other people within my town to have a conversation with the right people, with the right legislation. So I'm
Mhm.
seeing things happening here, in the suburbs. So I can only imagine what else is going on, and how much more we can really do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I am so proud of you, and this was
Thank
really, really a
you.
good convo. Really, really good
Yes.
convo. Even through our technical
Yeah.
difficulties, it still is a really good convo.
Yeah.
Um, so if anybody wants to try to reach you, how can they reach you?
You can follow me anywhere, everywhere at the Simone, Theximone. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, Apple Music, anything. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So just so you know, guys, I am going to be re-airing this. It's going to be in constant rotation, but I'll keep following to see your journey, and maybe we can do this again.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'll be able to go to a protest, and
Yeah, that'd be great.
yeah, I mean, like I said, I wish I can find something like you said, that like that Instagram that can give us information. But even
Hmm.
some other photographers, even a photographer that I know with the paper, he said he'll get a call and then he has to rush and
Wow,
like go through it.
yeah.
So we need to find out, or at least here in South Florida, um, and that's if the protests are being done properly. Like if
Yeah, that's
you're
another thing too.
registering, that's another thing. Like if you're going out there to get a permit to do the
Yeah.
protest, which people, that is a smart thing to do, because when you do that, the police do get involved, and the police can guide you through what neighborhoods you can go
That's
to.
exactly what they were doing.
So that's something that about that, but that's something that you guys should look into if you're planning to do a protest. Go to talk to your city officials. Go get it, on paper, so you can have this police assistant. Because one thing you don't want to do is go through a neighborhood that you don't know what's
Mm.
going on.
Yeah, yeah,
And then traffic too as well, because you don't want you want to stop so people will understand, hey, we're here protesting, but also you want to make sure you're safe too.
yeah, yeah.
So, all right,
Okay.
Simone, love you to pieces, proud
I
of
love you
you.
too. Be
Okay,
safe.
so we will we will communicate again.
Yep.
Just keep doing what you're doing, love. Keep doing what you're
Yeah.
doing.
Thank you for
Okay.
having me.
All right, baby. Love you. Talk to
Love
you
you
soon.
too. Bye.
Okay. Bye bye.